Welcome to my assignment video. My name is Firmansyah. I'm from MSc IEM. Today I'm going to talk about Silicon Valley. Several questions have been asked about the region. What factors do make the cluster so vibrant? How do the communities deal with such environment? Who are the key groups here? And how do they affect each other? On my writing, I have concluded using the example of Flextronics that there are three main points that shape the environment. The first one is the high-velocity labor market. The second one is the existence of professional bakers. And lastly, the benefits of agglomeration. In this video, I will explore the same main points, plus some related aspects using other examples to enrich my description. First of all, California is one of few states that do not enforce a non-compete clause, which prevents an employee from joining or starting a competing firm for a certain time after ending his job at a company. The absence of such law creates a phenomenon called high-velocity labor market that creates a positive force for the industry. As a consequence, there are many new startups that were created as spin-off companies coming from previous employees. Fairchild Semiconductor is a famous example for this, as there are 92 public companies today that have been influenced by its existence. In addition, the industry is further reinforced by the presence of research-oriented yet practical universities. Stanford University, University of California, Berkeley, and Carnegie Mellon University, Silicon Valley campus. Not only do these organizations supply human capital to the industry, but they also be the place for incubation of future innovations and startups. Stanford University, for example, owns the patent of Google's PageRank algorithm and runs an accelerator program called StarX, which helps Stanford and affiliated entrepreneurs to raise funds and to connect them to expert mentors. In addition to unique labor system, the cultural and social aspects of entrepreneurship in Silicon Valley also give significant influence in creating and nurturing new ventures. The spirit rooted back in the 1910s with the existence of ham radio enthusiasts who were driven by unregulated shortwave radio, creating a community with a culture of camaraderie, sociability, egalitarianism, and democratic ideology. Not only was the community a mixture of various people with different classes, background, or education, but it also consisted of people who published their latest innovations in the public media. In addition, the company founders are not reluctant to promote their employees building their own companies. This community support sustained both private and public leadership in developing the institutions that contribute to the development of high-tech base and increase the social rewards of high-tech successes. The higher the rewards, the more would-be entrepreneurs will be tempted to abandon the security salaried employment for the high risk of a new venture. In addition to social support, Silicon Valley communities also reinvest in the next generation companies through mentorship and access to financing that lead to the existence of professional venture capitalists, business angels, accelerators, and incubators. AMD, for example, was angel invested by Robert Noyce, one of Fairchild Semiconductor founders. Another example of a founder who turned into venture capitalist is Eugene Kleiner, who founded Kleiner Perkins, a notable VC firm in Silicon Valley. These professional bakers are what differentiate California with other regions and authorities that only provide money to grow their clusters. In addition to financing, they advise entrepreneurs on business plans and strategies, helping to find co-investors, recruiting key managers, and serving on board of directors. Since most of financiers are entrepreneurs in a fast-changing environment, it may be argued that the Silicon Valley investors are more willing to take risks than VCs in other regions. An angel investor, for example, financed Apple when there was no market for personal computers. In fact, many startups that had no revenues and clear business models had been continually funded by venture capitalists until potential buyers acquired them. The existence of these professional bakers has provided the startups with the resources it needed to develop and exploit opportunities around them. Another important characteristic of California environment is the agglomeration benefits that exist when firms and people are located in the same region. Within such environment, there are reduced costs of moving goods, people, and ideas that give advantages to the companies. This is extremely important for technology businesses as the management of design requires feedback loops that have to be coordinated with suppliers as well as customers. For example, Fairchild semiconductor engineers often went to their customers' R&D labs and manufacturing plants to co-design and to create integrated circuits of particular products. The proximity among firms in the supply chain is arguably helping this process to become leaner and quicker. In addition, the tight industry cluster helps former informal employee interaction within and between firms that lead to knowledge spillovers and arguably creation of new firms. For example, the first Tesla Motors founders were inspired to start an electric vehicle startup after being introduced by their neighbor. However, the agglomeration brings some costs and drawbacks. Agglomeration may lead to rising in land price, long commuting times, and reduction in quality of life. The median price of Silicon Valley homes, for example, is $360,000 more than that of the California state. Furthermore, the number of Silicon Valley residents who commute to another county within the region has been increasing significantly since 2011. In addition, there may also be disadvantages of agglomeration when the demand for talents from the growing companies cannot be kept up with the supply of it. This leads to bargaining power reduction of the industry in acquiring talents. Torsten, a CEO of Younoodle, said that he does see many talents there, but the market is heavily distorted by the big players that have much resources, making a fierce talent war. At the same time, a study conducted by Kaufman Foundation has seen a decline in San Jose and San Francisco startup activity since 2014. It may be argued that the diseconomies of agglomeration for small companies have outweighed the benefits of it in the region. Finally, the dynamics of the industry within the region have several implications. First of all, the versatile labor market and higher demand from the companies have reduced the bargaining position, so that they have to offer something more than wages. The other alternatives may come in the form of more opportunities for professional personal development, or free shuttle bus to offices from employees' homes, subsidized cafeteria, and so forth and so on. Furthermore, the nature of startups leads to the existence of entrepreneurial finance that gives room for alternative compensation such as profit sharing scheme and employee ownership in company shares. Secondly, the entrepreneurial spirits of VCs in Silicon Valley has two interesting implications on financing. First, venture capitalists would pay more attention to cash flow statement than other financial measures. This is because most ventures would make no profits while they are on a seed stage or early stage, where they are refining their market proposition. Second, Silicon Valley venture capitalists may be more concerned with growth metrics rather than amount of revenues or profits. The example of WhatsApp and Instagram have proved that the ventures could potentially be much valuated as long as the adoption rate is high and continue to rise exponentially. This attitude may be difficult to find outside Silicon Valley, and hence there are big rooms to experiment in California high-tech environment. Third, it may be argued that Silicon Valley startups environment nowadays is more favorable for B2B startups rather than B2C startups. It is better for the former as there are many companies which are their markets in the region that have their own problems. And the best place to iterate the solution is to be inside the clusters. For B2C startups, however, it is better to find places where the population are less exploited and access for talent is relatively easy. Fourth, there has to be important measures from the government about education, migration, and immigration. The high-tech environment requires bright minds, and government should increase the quality and quantity of education around the valley. Furthermore, the immigration policy should give more room for foreign bright people to stay and work in the valley. The ease of getting work permit will fill the gap and hence reinforce the spirit within the valley and sustain the region's economic growth. Thank you for listening.